So I blew a tire on a metal cover in the middle of the road and totally derailed the entire day. I'm sitting here irritated, frustrated, upset, and then it just dawned on me that I'm sitting here with my Lamborghini and life could be way worse. So in the right perspective, I'm beyond grateful to even have this little car, and I'll get some new tires on it on Monday, get home, jump in the Scat pack, and continue the weekend. So sometimes when you let your emotions get the best of you, you forget how fortunate you are. And I think in this situation I needed to remind myself that things could be way worse. I just need some new tires anyways. So Big O will hook me up Monday. Tires are already ordered and the tow truck's on the way. And that is the culprit right here. So I try to get around it, and this thing dips, took my tire out. And just like that, we're headed home. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. You're a pro. Whatever I can do to give you the best rating in the world. Yeah. You got it, brother. Thanks. All right, take it. Congrats on the new baby.
Thanks.
Yep, your life is going to change. Is it a girl?
It's a boy.
You're lucky. See? I got a girl. It's very expensive. See ya. And we are back, folks, with another video, because today I'm not at any car meets because I was on my way, and yep, the tire blew. The roads are in repair, and my car is too, which is kind of how that works out for me, at least, with these very low profile tires and this spectacularly beautiful Lamborghini. But it does not do well on horrible roads. But you know what does do well on horrible roads? This beast right here, with these big meaty tires, big old wheels. This is a tank, and that's a tank too, except that thing breaks all the time. Currently the rear passenger door does not unlock, does not open. That's just a Land Rover world. That happens. But this thing, God, what a beautiful car. So I was gonna go meet up with everybody in this thing, and turned out they're headed back here anyways, so no need, now that the car's in the garage. But that leaves me with some time to shoot a video that I've had on my list of videos I wanted to get out to you all, which, by the way, yes, I've been doing a lot of content lately. It's because I have literally folders full of topics that I want to address with you all. And every chance I get now, I'm trying to just get that list whittled down so I can start a new list. And I probably have 9 or 10 more videos that I want to go over with you all, where I'm just gonna give you information that I believe, based on my 53 years on this planet and many already stupid decisions that I've learned from, that I can convey over to you, share to you, impart that wisdom to you so you can avoid those things. I'll be knocking these videos out, and I'm trying to do them every other day, every third day, but right now it's happening a lot. So I appreciate you all watching them, and I appreciate all the awesome comments, and it inspires me to keep going and keep filming and keep giving you this content. So today we're going to talk about a very, very regular question that I get on Instagram in my direct messages from many of you who are now finding yourself upside down in your cars and what to do. And it's really a tough question, but I figured I might as well address this here. Lots of information out there about it, but having lived it, doing the whole German car thing for many years, I've found solutions, I've found ways out, I've gotten creative, and I think with all the markups and all the crazy pricing this last 3 years or so, a lot of you, and we're already seeing this, a lot of folks out there getting really buried in their cars, and they have this need to go buy a new car, and now they're finding out they can't get out of their old car. So we're going to talk about negative equity today, how it happens, some solutions, and how to avoid it. Now let's jump in the swinger, turn on the air conditioning, and shoot this video. This is so frustrating. This is never easy to get. Like, if I was getting chased by zombies, I would never get in this car. And I don't remember my other cars being like this, but literally I would be eaten right now by a zombie. Okay, we're in. All right, first, what do you think of the shirt? Got the Save the Manual shirt in the manual. You know I had to do that, right? I had to get this shirt. I mean, it's just perfect. and I try to wear this every time I'm driving this thing, and it's great when I drive my Lamborghini and I have the shirt on. Everybody says, "Oh, is that a gated manual?" And then I have to tell them, "No, I got the cheap version." It's awesome. So let's get started and talk about how do you end up with tons of negative equity? How do you end up upside down or quote buried in your car? And let's look at what happened the last 3 years with car values. We all know what happened because we watched the whole supply and demand issue kick in and prices go to the moon on the cars with markups and add-ons and all that crap. But the benefit to us was, despite that happening and all the complaints that I myself had about markups and prices going up, the lift also took place for our cars. So our used cars went way up in value, and we all saw that. For example, my red eye, when I bought that in I think it was January 18th in 2020, by the time we were on lockdown, I was, let's say about a month before lockdown, I took that thing, I paid 83 grand with power dollars, went into CarMax for a video, and they said, "We'll give you 64,000. I was literally less than 90 days, maybe even 60 days away from having bought that car, and it had already dropped by $20,000. But then we watched the market go nuts and the supply chain issues, and suddenly we can't get these cars. And I get offered $83,000 for my red eye, and I decide I'm taking that. I think I was in 2021 or 22. I don't even remember. I black out because I look back and I wish I never sold that car. Yep, I admit it right now to all of you. Wish I never sold that car. That car was awesome. But nonetheless, I did, and it's got a great home, and I follow them on Instagram, and I get to see it all the time. That is what it is. But I got $83,000 for that car. So literally from 2020 to like 21, 22, that thing went back up to $83,000. So then we all got used to that. So we're mad about the dealers charging these wild markups, yet our used cars are going to the moon. So we forget what it's like having negative equity. We're going in trading cars like I did. I've had 8 of these cars so far, as I mentioned in my last video. And that's been really enabled because the market's been so good that I could buy the car as long as I got it for MSRP, even after my tax and license. A year later, maybe I only lose $2,000 or $3,000, and if that car made me $4,000 or $5,000 on YouTube, I never lost a penny on switching through these cars to bring you all content, and frankly, for me to be able to enjoy them. So that's the world we lived in, and many of you felt the same way. You bought a car, and you were so proud of yourself that, you know, look, oh my gosh, I bought this thing for 50 grand, 60 grand, and now I can sell it for what I owe, in some cases more than what you owed or even more than what you paid. Well, let me just tell you, and I'm gonna just, I have said this 1,000 times, those days are gone. They are going away rapidly. You're not going to get what you thought you were gonna get. Literally in the last 90 days, prices have began to slide. Now I'll tell you right now, in the last 30 days, they've begun to slide. I've gotten messages, and if I find them, I'll put them on the screen, from folks saying, look, I'm only getting $33,000, $34,000, $35,000 for my car that literally 6 months ago they were willing to pay $45,000 for. Yep, welcome to the new world, welcome to the party, and that means today you are probably upside down in your car if you didn't put any money down. So let me give you an example on how this actually happens. So just a rough example. Let's say you bought 18 months ago a Scat pack, and you avoided the markup, you dodged the markup, you watched my channel, and you stayed firm, and you went out of state, whatever you had to do, and you bought a Scat pack, and you got one loaded, you got the Harman card, and you got the sunroof, you got all the stuff, and you paid $60,000 for that car. It's a wide body, it's a great car, but you put no money down, and you had to pay, let's just say, like in my state, let's just say it's about a 9 to 10% tax and license fee. Now, if you're in a state you don't have to do that, good for you. You might be in better shape. But let's say in my state, I'm in California, so it's $60,000 and another $6,000 for tax and license. So now I'm at $66,000. 18 months have gone by. Let's say the rate was even, let's just say it was a really good rate at the time, which now we don't have that. A really good rate at the time, and I'm paying $800 a month for that car. $400 a month of that, just rough numbers, I know it's not perfect, is going towards principal, and $400 is going towards the interest, I'm looking at maybe paying $7,000, $6,000, $7,000 on that car in 18 months. Taking my $66,000 loan, if I put no money down on that car and financed everything in because loans were easier to get, interest rates were low, the payment was still good, I kept my cash in my pocket, I knew the market was still strong, so I wasn't going to be buried in the car. So I made that decision. I'm not saying I made that decision, but I'm just giving you an example. And now, 18 months later, you owe $60,000 on that car. Well, here's the deal. Today, that car is probably worth $52,000, $53,000. And you have miles on that car, so depending on those miles, it could be a little more and it could be a little less. So bottom line is, you're probably upside down. Now, even if you covered the tax and license and you paid that loan down, you might be lucky if you're breaking even. And that's what happened on my last Scat Pack. So I didn't give you my exact example because those numbers are, I don't want to be held to those. But the bottom line is, I did have to pay a little bit. I think it was $2,000 or $3,000 to get out of my car. But here's why. I did put some money down when I bought that Scat Pack. So basically the tax and license, I think I covered, and that at least put me in a position where, despite the market sliding and having to sell that thing for $53,500, I still had to cover a couple $1,000s to get out of that car. No big deal. It was a small amount, so I wasn't in trouble. But there's going to be a lot of people out there, and some of you are watching right now, where you're $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 upside down in your cars the longer this market slides, and that's going to hurt people, which is why I'm doing this video right now, to help any of you who are thinking that you want to get out of that car right now and go buy a 2023 or get something else. You may want to hold on, but the other issue is some of you that are sitting on humongous car payments because you bought a car with a markup and you financed a bunch of that in, and the bank let you didn't put a lot of money down, and you're paying, let's just say $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a month on a car, and now your job's giving you less hours, your income's dropped a little bit, the gas prices are a lot higher, interest rates on everything else are higher, inflation, you want to buy some eggs, they're going to cost more money. So now you're saying, man, I really don't like this payment. I'd like to get out of this thing and go get myself a more economical car and then cruise through this uncertainty in the economy right now. And I get that. The problem is you're going to find yourself upside down, and you may feel okay until you start looking. So let's talk about exactly how this happens, aside from what I've already told you. So first thing is no money down. No money down is a real quick way to put yourself upside down in a car. If you put no money down, but at least you pay the tax and license, you're in better shape. But if you put no money down and you finance the tax and license, and now you're thinking you want to get out of that thing, go look at how much you've been paying every month towards your principal, and you're probably nowhere near being able to get out of that car. So be careful with no money down. I've done it before. I've done it when I know I'm buying the car right, and I know that I maybe I'll have to pay when I get out of it. I'm putting a down payment down, or I'm paying to get out. You're going to pay to get in, or you're going to pay to get out. So if you didn't pay to get in, then you're probably going to pay to get out, and that's where we're looking at right now. So if you're buying a car, you may want to put the money down while you got it, because you may not have it when you need to get out of the car, because generally when you need to get out of the car, you don't have that money. That's why you need to get out of that car. So no money down loans are a little dangerous. The banks are being tougher on those right now for exactly this reason. The next thing is long-term loans. Now, I shared with you that I was good with going long-term on loans, but that was for my personal situation, especially when I knew the market was holding really well, that I could do a longer-term loan, get a lower car payment, and then put that payment into my business, which is this YouTube channel, and then have a lower overhead every month, keep the car for 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 months, maybe a year at the most, and then I was able to get out of that car and maybe pay a couple grand, but I got out of that car. The reality of it is, for many of you out there, you're buying the car to keep the car. If you do a long-term loan, it would behoove you to put a lot more money down, because you're going to pay down that loan a lot slower, meaning depreciation will run much faster than your ability to pay that loan down. Especially today with interest rates the way they are, a longer term loan may get you the car payment you need, but you'll be walking into negative equity the second you walk out of there, unless you put a significant amount of money down. When I say money down, I mean down from MSRP down, MSRP, tax and license down, not markup. So if you paid a $25,000 markup and you put $25,000 down, and then you financed the rest and the tax and license, you put zero down. Think about how that feels. You put no money down even though you shelled out $25,000. Just reiterating, the markups are really, really painful, which means you put $25,000 into the car, you financed 100% of MSRP plus tax and license, and now you're buried in the car by $5,000 to $10,000. That's a horrible place to be because you dropped the $25,000. So be careful right now more than ever. Next, the car value depreciates too fast. Well, in any market with any product, you're going to see, especially when supply and demand drives the prices, you're going to see depreciation, you're going to see it slow and speed up. And what happened in the last 3 years is it not only was depreciating, things were appreciating when it came to these cars, and now they're depreciating. They're going the other direction, and they will continue unless it's a very special car. Your Hellcat, your Scat Pack is depreciating. I promise you that is happening. I mean, you can think I'm wrong, but go in there and see what the dealers will give you. See what Car Buyer USA, CarMax will give you for these things right now. Now let's talk about the solutions, because that's what you're all looking for when you message me. And this will save you having to message me, even though I love trying to at least keep up with the messages and get you all answers. But all of you out there who are having that problem, here's the solutions. One, let's say you're $5,000 upside down. You just write the check, stroke the check, pay the money, you're good. But what if you don't have that money? And that's where a lot of people are landing right now. You can go buy another car and roll the negative into that car. And the challenge with that is you're just kicking the can down the road and perpetuating the problem, and frankly exacerbating the problem, because anything you roll in on top of a car today is going to really, really hurt a year from now when we're in a normal car market where cars are depreciating rapidly as normal. So what happens today, if you rolled $5,000 into your next car because your credit's really good, everything's cool, you will be way more upside down. And I promise you that is a domino effect you do not want to experience. So I would highly recommend never, when the dealer says, don't worry, we can get you in at your payment because you got good credit, and we can get you out of this car. It's $5,000 we're just going to put onto your other car, and you give us $5,000 as a down payment, and you're like, okay, that's cool. And now you're completely screwed and buried in that car. But you got the car, so you feel really good. Fight that feeling. Just know that will bite you later. You're going to feel that pain, and it's going to hurt really bad. Where a couple years from now, you might be able to pay $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to get out of that car. Now you're looking at having to pay $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 to get out of that car, and you won't be able to do it. Many people won't be able to do it. Next, if your credit's really, really good, and you're not too buried in the car, and you have a great credit union or bank that will refinance the car for you at a lower rate than what you currently have. So let's say you were a younger borrower, had some credit issues, and you bought the car, and you got sucked in at that 15% interest because the dealer hosed you at the time and you were super excited. Now your credit's great, you've got this awesome history. There's a possibility you can go and refinance that loan. And if you can refinance that loan at a lower rate, even with higher rates today, that's half of what your current rate is. You can cut your payment down significantly, and if you're still comfortable making that higher payment, you can keep making that same higher payment, putting the rest of that money towards your principal, and quickly, a lot faster at least, start buying down that loan so that in maybe 6-8 months you'll be in a better position to be able to get out of that car. And here's a creative strategy that I've shared before and I've actually done when I was younger, and it did get me through the challenge, and it's pretty slick, but you got to be creative. You got to be very deliberate on this thing. I had a car, and I think I was $6,000 upside down on the car, and at the time, coming out of 07, I needed to get into something a lot cheaper. Well, I needed to get out of that negative, and there's nothing I could do. And I'm sitting on an $1,800 car payment, and I'm trying to go down to a car payment around $600 and just buying something cheap. I didn't want to, nor could I, roll the negative on top of that other loan without ending up in the same position with the car payment, or even the bank just turning down the loan because they weren't going to give me another loan and then roll a bunch of negative in. It just wasn't going to happen, especially in that weird market like we're in today, where banks are being really cautious about how much they're going to lend on a car. So what I did is I got a credit card, because my credit was still good, got a credit card with a 0% introductory rate on new purchases. So here's the deal. You can get that. You can go and apply for one of those cards. If your credit's still good, get a 0% interest introductory rate, go search for them online, apply, and then swipe that card, and let's say it's $6,000 negative. Now you have, let's just say it's a year where you get no interest on any of these purchases. You put all of that, and believe me, if you trade the car, and the dealer will take your card. Some dealers want to say they won't, but they don't have any real reason not to. They take that card, you swipe that, now you've got a $6,000 balance on your card. But Brad, credit card debt's horrible. Not when it's 0% interest, and you've got a year now to pay that thing off without paying any interest. And some will allow the purchase to be eternally 0% if it's done in a certain period, or it's right off the bat when you get the card, the first purchase. So search for those cards. Now, I was able to do that, and I was able to chunk that thing down in the first year and never pay any interest. There are companies out there that will do that for you. There are companies out there like, where are they all going? There are many companies out there that will do 0% interest. Your credit union will do a lower interest rate on a signature loan. They'll give you a credit card, and that's one way to get out of it. But what I will tell you is don't do that and then play the game of, well, that's not going to report to my credit for another month or two, so now I can go buy an expensive car again, and now you've got that payment and your car. If you're trying to get yourself out of trouble, do that, get a much cheaper car to get to the other side, and then get rid of that negative before you ever even consider going to buy an expensive car again. And in the end, it's best just to not end up in this position in the first place. So I'm going to share with you now some strategies to avoid ending up in this position. I think a lot of them go without saying, but I'm going to say them anyways. If I can help one person out there avoid financial catastrophe a year from now, or even today, then it's worth it. So one, either do a longer term loan with a larger down payment, or do a shorter term loan if you're not going to do a big down payment. If you're going to do very low or zero down on something, do the shortest term loan you can afford on that payment. That way you can pay that loan down faster and at least try to keep up with the depreciation. And next, never believe a car salesman who tells you that this car is going up in value, this car is going to hold its value, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You'll be able to get out of this car. You're not going to lose anything on this car. Trust me, they will say anything to get the sale. They may even believe what they're saying when they say it, making them not a horrible person for saying it, just a stupid person for saying such a thing. The reality of it is, for example, with the Swinger, I knew buying it at MSRP did not entitle me to have some easy get out of jail free card with this car. The way the market's going, there's a strong chance that I still will have a challenge with this car when I go to sell it to get out for what I paid, and there's a chance I have to pay a little bit. Now, I did put almost $7,000 down so that I could keep myself safe if I do need to get rid of it when the Demon 170 shows up. So I thought that went through. Even though I didn't want to chunk out that money, if I was going to keep this thing forever, maybe I would have. I wouldn't have cared. I'm going to keep the car forever. Who cares? I'm never going to be upside down. I'm not going to have to sell it. I wasn't going to take that chance, so I threw that money down. I even had a few of you message me and ask me, why do I put money down? Well, for that reason. I don't see myself escaping from these cars as easily as I did in the past. And lastly, as always, don't pay markups or add-ons. I mean, I'm a miracle I'm not blue in the face right now. I've said that so many times to you all, but don't pay markups or add-ons, because that pretty much immediately ensures that you will be buried in that car. Even if you pay it in cash, you will simply be buying yourself down to MSRP and putting yourself in a hole. But Brad, what if we just pay cash for the car? Good for you. You're loaded. You saved your money. Knock yourself out. You can pay cash for a car. I still to this day don't believe in doing that. I would like my cash out there working for me, making me money, doing all kinds of other things. Cash it has one purpose in the world. It's to go make us money. Banks have another purpose in the world, and it's to give us money so we can keep our money working. We can't take their money and put it to work generally. We can if we want to start a business and things like that, but when we have our own money, that money should go out and make us money. As Mr. Wonderful always says, he sends $1 out to come back with some of its friends. And that's what I like to do. So I will always finance my cars, but I will, like my Lamborghini, pay that thing off if I plan to keep it forever. So with that, everybody, please like, subscribe, comment, and thanks for watching these longer videos. I hope they're helping some of you out there avoid disaster, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.